Earlier this week, it was announced that Dominion Voting Systems has filed 2 new defamation lawsuits, one against Newsmax and one against One America News Network. They also filed another defamation lawsuit, a third one, against the former CEO of Overstock.com, Patrick Byrne. But Patrick Byrne is not exactly a media outlet. So let's focus more on Newsmax and One America because these lawsuits are fairly interesting. First and foremost, let's talk about Newsmax. Because Newsmax actually came out several months ago, issued their retractions, because they were actually being sued by a Dominion employee that they had said was responsible for switching votes on their network. He dropped that suit. They issued the apology. They issued the retraction. They've come out, they've been very careful about what they say about the 2020 election ever since then. Kind of like Fox News, who is also being sued by Dominion for $1.6 billion. They're not letting people come on the air and say these crazy things. They're editing out those parts from the videos they post online. They don't want to get in any more trouble. So I am a little, surprised, to be honest, that Dominion did move forward with the lawsuit against Newsmax. One America, on the other hand, what the hell took you so long, folks? I mean, really, Dominion, that should have been the first one you filed. Like, One America should have been hit before Fox, before Rudy Giuliani and Sidney Powell and all these other folks. One America has been absolutely one of the worst networks in terms of misinformation and election lies. That is essentially all they traffic in these days. That's all they can do is talk about how fraudulent the 2020 election was, even though there's literally no evidence to support any of that. At this point, I don't even know if One America could survive a $1.6 billion lawsuit. Does the network have any money? Do they really have enough to survive if they have to pay? And again, I think the evidence is very clear and overwhelming about One America pushing these lies. Newsmax, I think Newsmax might actually be in the clear. Now, don't get me wrong, I hate them, okay? I disagree with everything they say on their network. They are a bunch of pandering propagandists. However, legally speaking, they have done what they needed to do. And unless I've missed something, and they still do sneak in claims that Dominion somehow worked to overturn the 2020 election, unless I've missed that, Newsmax might be safe from this particular lawsuit. One America, they don't have that going for them. They're not going to be issuing apologies. They're not going to be issuing retractions. And they're sure as hell not going to stop saying the crazy things that they're saying, because that's the only reason they have an audience. An audience that, as we've reported on, is shrinking. Has been shrinking throughout the year. Without Trump to get people all riled up, not quite as much for Trumpers to want to watch. So One America is in trouble. And if they lose this lawsuit and the judge says, yes, you have to pay $1.6 billion, that might be the death knell for One America News Network. And frankly, that can't come soon enough. Ring of Fire has fresh content 7 days a week, so if you want to be reminded about it, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, hit the little bell to be notified every time a new video goes up.